Hello, this is Rachel with Short and Sweet Reviews, and we're going to be having a little Chosen chat, almost our last one, for season 2, episode 7 of The Chosen. And so let's get right into it. And so, first off, I can't fully pinpoint why. It could definitely have to do with this is a big tension builder episode. Building and kind of setting the stage, pun not intended, for what's going to happen in the season finale. But even though it's not directly like biblical stories like all the other episodes this season, or at least, you know, allusions to it. I still really like this episode, and it might be one of my favorites. Again, it could just have to do with like the tension building and getting this different dynamic than we haven't seen in the show this far. And kind of starting with that, I guess, I don't know why I hadn't thought about this, but it really gives context for what it would be like to have 2 sets of brothers in the 12. So a third of the disciples were brothers in some way, and just what the dynamic would be like, and you know, a mix of almost sort of like sibling rivalry between the siblings themselves and just the group of brothers themselves. Here you kind of have the quote-unquote sons of thunder and the sons of Jonah, and how that kind of plays out at the beginning of the episode, which is great, and I feel it can be very relatable with the whole sibling dynamics. And kind of with that, along those lines, as an anxious person myself, it was definitely very relatable, and you can definitely get where Andrew's coming from with that whole freak out on the boat, and just how you can kind of spiral a little bit, and just the whole conversation with Simon, and Simon being the cool-headed one this time, and how that ended up panning out. And one of the last things I want to mention is I thought it was kind of interesting how, looking back at it, watching it this past time, you sort of get almost a foreshadowing and kind of contrast of how the disciples react to Jesus getting arrested this time. Even though it's not necessarily in the Bible, it's definitely interesting to see them reacting this time in the show, and you know, everyone's different points of view and what that means for them, versus how they all kind of end up reacting when he is crucified. And you get kind of that context of just like everyone's kind of either, come on, let's go break him out, or just it's like, he told us to wait, let's go wait. And then in contrast to, not going to go into spoilers, even though the book is readily available, to how everyone is at the time of second time getting arrested, or just another time getting arrested in the future for Jesus. Won't go into all the details about that, but spoiler, he gets arrested again. And so one of the last things I'm going to cover this time is just, you have to talk about the Jesus and Quintus chat, because it's so great and so iconic. Just seeing how some of the Romans might have viewed all the events, you know, being detached from the whole kind of religious law part of it, and the whole messianic context. Although I'm sure the Romans would have been aware in some shape or form being around the Jews. But just at least in this show, how it's portraying how some of them are a little bit sort of threatened or just standoffish about it, and what Jesus is doing. And then you have Quintus, which is like, he's doing our job for us. He's kind of keeping control or just like doing things for us, but also wants to make sure he still has the power and just has that upper hand as well. And just seeing those interesting dynamics, and just props to Jonathan Roumie. Not that I ever thought he was a bad actor, because he's great, don't get me wrong, but just I think something that I personally appreciate in actors is when it doesn't feel like they're acting, or it doesn't look like I'm watching someone acting. Like, I appreciate when it just looks like it's just a normal human interaction going back and forth, and I think this was a time that I kind of felt that the most with Jonathan Roumie, aka Jesus, in the show. And just that, plus the whole back and forth, just that whole scene was amazing. And I think that will be all for now for this Chosen Chat of Season 2, Episode 7. Bye.